Good Tuesday afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majestic back with you here in the North Georgia Majestic Studios with your Talking Live forecast update here on your June the 16th, 2026. Well, looks like we got a lot to talk about on this update, that's for sure, as we're in store for some heavy rains coming this way. Looks like we're going to get our first named tropical system of the season in the next 24 hours, and this system is going to be tracking into the southeast. Now, its exact track is going to play a big factor on just about how much rain we may see across portions of East Tennessee and North Georgia as we wrap up the work week. Now, before we get rolling here on this full report, if you're new here to the Talking Live Broadcast Channel Facebook page, please give us a follow. And if you happen to be watching over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. But more importantly, make sure you hit that notification bell so you're alerted on all future weather updates, just like this one. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this update, shall we? As we're looking at a little bit of filtered sunshine across Chattanooga. Not looking too bad here for this afternoon. Temperatures quite comfortable, not bad at all. And as well up toward areas of Helen, Georgia. A little more cloud cover here. Rain has been mostly just off to the south here. Most of North Georgia staying quiet, but down toward metro Atlanta, yeah, it's been a little wet down there for this morning. Looking at our current temperatures, things warming up into the 70s. We'll have a few 80s here and there. You can definitely see how that rain has kept it kind of cool down toward Atlanta, with temperatures there in the 60s down there toward Dallas. But again, we're going to have a better looking day ahead for your Wednesday. In fact, we're expecting a little more sunshine and warmer temperatures back in here as we get into your midweek forecast. Looking at the radar, it's pretty quiet. It's going to stay that way for the rest of your Tuesday, and Wednesday, for the most part, will stay dry as well. It's just the big question mark. What happens as we go into Thursday and Friday? That's got our attention. Because you look what's going on here regionally, we've got an area of low pressure here starting to form here just off the Texas coast. Look at all this rain in here. We've got an old stationary boundary in here that kind of acts as a little bit of like a dam, so this tropical moisture is going to get thrown into it. And now the question mark is, how far north is this thing going to get? So there's the infrared satellite imagery. Again, we'll be watching closely to see just how much development we get. I will tell you that most of the forecast models do not strengthen this thing into something significant. It looks like if we get anything here, and it does make a landfall somewhere up here along the Louisiana coast, it'll probably be a minimal tropical storm. But that's really not the issue here, whether how strong the system is going to be. It's the question, how much tropical moisture does it bring with it? And the exact track, because that really is critical on just how much heavy rains we may or may not see across the area. So here's the official track right here from the Hurricane Center. Again, we're looking at a landfall here sometime here going into Wednesday night, about 8 o'clock right there, as we're expecting this thing to really develop here pretty significantly in the next few days. So just watch for this thing in the next 24 hours, I should say, as this thing begins to move up here toward the north. So we're going to see things begin to gradually deteriorate there along the coast. So there's the potential tropical cyclone 1. Again, looking at that landfall here sometime tomorrow evening, looks like taking the top sustained winds to about 40 miles per hour. So a minimal tropical storm when this moves in. Then once it does, then we got to figure out where exactly it's going to go as far as its track. So it's already going to dump a tremendous amount of rain. We're already getting that already with the interaction of the frontal boundary and the tropical moisture. Look at the moderate flood risk there for today there along the Texas Gulf Coast and over toward Louisiana and Mississippi. Now watch what happens here as we go through the days ahead here. So going in for tomorrow, again, predominantly there along the Gulf Coast, obviously we'll be looking at a landfalling system in there at that time. Then as we go into Thursday, here we go, as we're going to be getting, again, some heavy flooding here across portions of Louisiana, potentially Mississippi, Alabama. You notice all of East Tennessee and North Georgia is under that 15% for some heavier rains here. Now, the core of this system is the big key. If this thing tracks further to the north, that red area you currently see, it may end up being up here. So, again, it all depends on the exact track. How far north does it go? There's kind of a wide range. And on top of that, we're dealing with a weak system. So, again, this potentially could change. And then it continues into Friday as we wait for our frontal system to come on in. And then we'll start to clear things out by the time we get to Saturday. Looks like we'll see things begin to improve there by Saturday. So we got to watch what happens here. Again, the big day is going to be Thursday into Friday for that potential heavy rain threat. All right, now looking at where the current watches and warnings are, you kind of see where those flood watches are right now, extending from Mississippi back over here towards South Texas here. I do anticipate we're probably going to see some here across East Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia. As we go into probably tomorrow, going into Thursday, we'll see those flash flood watches start to be issued in anticipation of that. And on top of that, with this system coming in here, we are going to have a severe component with this because you can get a squall line. I think right now it's maybe some individual gusty winds with this. And this is your storm outlook here, day 3 outlook here going into Thursday. Okay, so this is for Thursday right now. You see the slight risk to the north. That's actually associated with a cold front coming on down here. But you see all the southeast here under that marginal risk. This also potentially can change depending on how strong the system gets, how organized it gets, what kind of squall line we get with this. We will see how this thing evolves as we go for the next couple of days. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the forecast model data here. As we're kind of looking here at the latest 12Z rapid refresh model, it's not showing a whole lot here. This one is keeping a lot of the heavier rains down to the south. All right, so as you can kind of see with this thing, as I got it looping on through, I'm going to slow this thing down here a little bit, and I'm going to be able to drag this thing. So as you see the circulation system right through here. So here's our center of circulation right down in here as this thing comes going. And on this particular model, as you track this thing, all right, it comes in and it follows a little more southerly route, I would say, there across Alabama. So you see that right, you're not really getting a whole lot of rain there across East Tennessee and North Georgia on this particular model. This one is not. You got that rain coming down with that frontal system, but that's about it. So this would mean we would miss a lot of the heavy rains. It would stay down to the south. But if you look at a different model out there, if you wanted to look at a different version, like if we look at the high resolution NAM here, for example, and see what this one looks like, this one in comparison is further north. Look where the heavy rain's going there. See, they're coming into a little bit more of North Alabama, North Georgia, getting in on that action on the NAM 60 hour. So again, we're just going to have to watch the track as it gets closer. One thing that's going to happen here is Hurricane Hunter aircraft go out there. We start getting that data into the models here, and we start to get something organized by tomorrow morning. Then we'll have a better lock on what we potentially may see with this system. Also, the weather service offices typically will have a few more air balloons in the weather balloons that they'll launch to kind of get better data into the model. So again, this will probably change. So keep it tuned here for updates here as we go through the next couple of days. So again, we're going to watch this next frontal system coming down. This front here is going to kind of act to kind of kick this thing on out as it moves on through. And then we're setting up for a decent weekend. So it's just a question mark on Thursday and Friday on the rain amounts, where exactly the heavy rain lights up and how much rain we get. That is what we're going to have to fine tune our forecast for. And I'm not going to go ahead and post any kind of rain potential right now, not till we get a little closer, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think tomorrow we'll start looking at that more closely. All right, so here's our forecast for Wednesday, though. Chattanooga, you're looking at 87-65 there. Clouds of sunshine across East Tennessee and North Georgia, looking pretty good. Let's take a look at those morning lows. Once again, pretty comfortable there for Wednesday. A lot of 60s out there. Still holding on to some low 60s even here across portions of Northeast Georgia there, but not bad. By June standards. And as we look at the afternoon highs here, as we go into the afternoon, as you can see here by 5 o'clock, you're around 88 there in Chattanooga, so pretty close to what we're forecasting here. Looking at some rains down toward Atlanta. There could be some pop-up storms down there near the metro Atlanta area, but most of North Georgia, I think, will stay here on the dry side here once again. There might be just a few scattered storms there down off toward the south. To watch for your Wednesday afternoon. Regionally looking like this. Again, not overly hot anywhere across the southeast. Confluence of the clouds and rain, obviously. The warmest areas that you're going to see there is going to be off toward the areas of the Carolinas. And you can see that where temperatures are in the 90s and 80s and such. 88 there in Chattanooga. So not looking bad overall across the southeast, except for they're getting those heavy rains. That's going to be a real pain, especially in those flood-prone areas. All right, let's go look at our next 7 days. Here we go. So we're dry for tomorrow. We got the high rain chances on Thursday and Friday. We'll try to fine-tune exactly when we may or may not get that heavy rain across East Tennessee and North Georgia. It's still a bit of a question mark on that. Looks like Saturday we clear out, maybe an isolated storm or two on Sunday late, and then another cold front coming in here on Monday and Tuesday. One thing's looking pretty clear, though. We're not looking overly hot through the period, and we continue with the rain chances across our area, which obviously will help with the drought conditions, which are continuing to improve across East Tennessee and North Georgia. Now, with all this action going on, my friends, here's a good opportunity for you to take advantage of our free weather app. Go ahead and snapshot this. The QR code there on top is for the Apple Store. The one on the bottom is for you Android users there at Google Play. Go ahead and download this. This thing's a great tool. It'll alert you when rain's in the area, alert you when lightning's nearby, severe weather alerts, hour-by-hour forecast, a future cast to kind of show you where the rain's expected to go over the next hour. It's one of the best weather apps in the business. Go ahead and download that. This is sponsored by our friends in Roof It Forward there in Woodstock, Georgia, if you're in need of a good quality roof and help local children's charities at the same time. Go ahead and hire these guys. They give a portion of every job to local children's charities. So a great business, to say the least. All right, again, we're going to be staying pretty busy this week, folks, as we watch and see what happens here with our first tropical system of the season, and we'll keep you updated every step of the way. All right, I appreciate you guys checking us out here on the Talking Live broadcast channel. Please give us a follow there on Facebook, and make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell to be alerted on all future weather updates on YouTube. All right, you guys take it easy. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye.